readiness and how we get our teams ready for what's next. So I thought one of the good ways to talk about business readiness and what this means is to start off with a story about snowboarding, okay? So a few years ago, and mind you, I'm still in my 30s when all these youngins are trying to pick up snowboarding when they're in their teens, right? I decide that this is a good idea. You know, I love the outdoors. I want to be, you know, hip and stay young and all that stuff. And so I enroll in snowboarding school. And, you know, I sign up. The first thing that they do is they teach you how to not only pick the right size of board, they teach you to strap on the board over your shoes, and they teach you how to stand up. And then the next thing that they teach you is how to fall. And I'm like, why would it be the first thing, or the second thing, I guess, that they teach you is how to fall? Well, come to find out is that one of the reasons why the emergency rooms are so flooded in the mountain towns during ski season is because of injuries. It's because of people falling. Because, you know, when you're going down the mountain, you can't anticipate the obstacles. There's going to be things that get in your way. There's going to be, you know, sharp curves. There's going to be stuff that comes up. There's going to be things you have to avoid. There's going to be drifts and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, that's curious. I'm like, well, why do you teach us how to fall? And they say, well, you know, it's not the falling that causes the injuries, Kelly. It's just that people's ego comes out when they try to resist the fall, and they start to stick out all their breakable appendages, and they break, you know, they stick out their wrists, you know, their elbows, you know, they break collarbones, because what they do is they resist the fall. And I'm going to give you some tools today to help you improve readiness at work, dispel some myths about change, and teach you how to ditch the drama and help you walk away with some tools to do what we call, which is bypass the ego. Remember I talked about falling, and I try to stick out all of my appendages to reduce the ego bruise that comes with falling, right? We're going to teach you how to bypass that with your teams, ingrain some readiness, and help them prepare in advance for what's next. And the first one is that loving detachment. Swap the word change with next. Even the word change just engages the ego. Change is like, nope, I don't want that. I'm happy with my preference. I don't know about this software tool because I love this spreadsheet that I'm using right now, okay? It's pretty awesome, and I'm the only person that knows how to use pivot tables in my company, so I want to be here, okay? That is valuing your preference over your potential. So it's really hard to argue with too much next. I don't know about all this next. I don't think I can handle it. So instead of saying change, simply say, let's focus on what's next. Let's focus on our potential. Stay in the present. Maintain a constant state of readiness. We talked about that future potential. What skills do you need to be developing to help you be prepared for something before it even comes? How do you need to fall well so that when you land, you protect yourself, and no matter what reality of the mountain that comes your way, you're always prepared for what's next. You can fall well. A great ego bypassing tool is the negative brainstorm. This is your probability and impact analysis. When a decision has been made, a lot of people love to come to you and tell you all the reasons why something won't work, okay? Bypass the ego, exchange the ego, list. All right, what do you got? Let's list every single reason why we think it won't work, okay? And we all know that oftentimes those reasons are something that's going to happen the only month of the year that has 5 Tuesdays, when it's snowing outside, right? It's only going to happen like 1% of the time. Make the list. After you make the list, ask them, what's the probability that this risk might happen? High, medium, or low? If it happens, what impact will it have? High, medium, or low? Then ask your teams to say, great, you guys have come up with some amazing things that we need to consider to mitigate risks in this project for us to keep the momentum going forward. Risk mitigation is a smart strategy. It helps you channel expertise, remove the ego, and get folks focused on what's next. Lots of times folks want to come into the meeting just to stop the decision. Instead, doing an inanimate exercise has actually been shown to get people less focused on their ego and the need to be right, and more on the action to deliver results. High probability, high impact items you can assign to a team member and say, great, come up with a plan of how we're going to mitigate this risk. Bring it to our team meeting again next month with a plan on the next steps. And then the last one, the thinking inside the box. This is my favorite one. So if you guys take anything from Vegas, take this, along with a few souvenirs, okay? A few shot glasses. The power of and. Lots of times people like to think either or. I can't implement this new software and deliver great service to my clients. The ego loves or. It doesn't multitask well. It doesn't think that you can do two things at once. And thinking simply embraces your circumstances and has folks self-reflecting on how we can versus why we can't. So the goal might be implement a new employee record system, right? A new HR system. And constraint 1 might be we have to do it in 90 days. Constraint 2 might be we still have to maintain hundreds of thousands of records of payroll and employee data for everything that we need at work. There can't be any mess-ups. Okay? Lots of times if we're in ego, we're trying to be right, arguing our preference over our potential. We like to think of all the reasons and stories and excuses of why we can only deliver one and not the other. Goal goes at the top. Constraints go on the left and the right. Get your team brainstorming, having them write it down. We know that writing down bypasses the ego, gets them into self-reflection, or writing on the board of let's list 3 reasons of how we can accomplish this in a short time frame while maintaining the quality of our records. What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? Bypass the ego, self-reflection, focused on here's what we need to do next to add value.